So today we're going to be doing a 360 tour of the Burke Museum. And this is in the University of Washington. It's right here behind y'all, and you can take a look at it. It's a stunning, striking building that was completed in 2019. It's sitting right at the heart of the University of Washington. And before we go inside and show you some of the exhibits, I wanted to just mention a couple of things on the outside. One is this wood facade. And so typically when you're on a university, you're going to see a lot of brick-clad buildings. And when Olson Kundig and the team that was a part of the University of Washington and the College of Arts and Sciences, they were looking at this and knowing that this was going to be a cultural museum, a research driven museum, and they really wanted something that was going to tie into the culture and the history that was going to be represented on the inside. And so they chose this wood facade that sort of represents a slat building that you would normally see from the indigenous people in the area. And this is a Kebney character cladding, and it's designed to age along with the building. And so it's as the sun comes over, as the elements hit it at different areas at different times throughout the year, it's sort of aging in different ways. And so I think that's a very cool aspect of this building that it really shows. The other thing that you can see is right now they're actually raising up this massive metal door. So this is connected to the cafe that's a part of the Burke Museum, and that is this huge several-ton door that's actually can be controlled by just a simple hand crank. It's an incredible design feature, something that Olson Kundig is sort of known for adding to a lot of their buildings, and so it's again just a testament to the ingenuity and the details in the design of this building. So without further ado, let's go inside and take a look at some of the exhibits. So before we went into the main section of the museum, I wanted to take you down to this lower level. This actually sits on the southwest corner of the building, and at night you can see into this area from the main street. It's very cool. And so you have this massive mastodon right behind me, which is incredible, and then right above you see this huge set of whale bones. Something interesting is that these whale bones, as they were being prepared, they were actually sitting on the old Burke Museum, which was adjacent to the new Burke as they were building it, and they needed to dry out all the bones. Well, to do that, they put them on the roof of the old Burke. And as the construction crews were working on this building, they actually got wafts of the smell from the decaying and rotting flesh that's still left on the bones. And they said it was, yes, quite in the experience of working on this while they felt all of that coming through. So just an incredible area. And then now what we'll do is we'll go in and check out just a couple of the exhibits and interesting features of the Burke Museum. So certainly one of the first things that you notice once you walk into the Burke is this huge linear staircase. So this actually goes up 3 floors. As you're going up this staircase, you can hit each of the different levels, and it goes up about 60 feet. And this other piece that you immediately see is this massive mural, and this was done by a local artist. They put up a request for various different commissions, and what this represents is sort of this connection between modern and historical and cultural pieces. So they sort of are all morphing into each other. You can see that you start with modern icons, shifting to actual artifacts that are a part of this building, and shifting back to other modern items. And so very cool. And then they have these acrylic pieces that as the sun goes through this huge skylight here, it hits them in different ways and sort of brings that interactivity. And that's something that you're going to see is a major part of the Burke Museum, is that idea of interacting. In fact, if you look down here, you'll see this is something that they did that's very counterintuitive to a lot of museums, is that they actually took the labs and the research and put them in glass areas and essentially made them a part of the display. So we'll check out a couple of those as we go up to this next exhibit. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So one of the things that they wanted to really embrace in the new design of the Burke Museum is this idea and concept of inside out museum. And so typically in a normal research and historical museum, what you're going to see is 2/3 of the museum is unseen in a basement tucked away, and that's where the real research is happening, and the public only sees the exhibits. And so with this, they wanted that research to be a part of the exhibit itself and essentially be on display along with that. And so not only do you have all the exhibits that are a part of it, but you also have these labs. And so this is the biology floor, so you see all the different biological pieces, whether it's bones and research regarding different specimens, cataloging, and all the different pieces. Down here you have artifacts and cultural pieces that have been collected. And so it's just very cool to see that, you know, even the researchers you see working on each given day doing their work, and they get to be connected with the people experiencing and interacting with their research and their work, and people also get to be a part of it in their own way. And so I think that's just a really cool piece of the Burke Museum that you really don't see in other places. So we're going to take you up to one more floor and show you some of the cool fossils they have. So before we go to the third floor, I did want to show you just, you know, a couple of the exhibits. One is this this area here is just showing our connection to the animals and wildlife, especially indigenous to the Pacific Northwest. And it really shows the really tactile pieces that the Burke wanted to have. They didn't want it to be a bunch of screens and TVs that people are interacting with, because we do that on a daily basis already. What they wanted was something that was more tactile, or something that you couldn't experience in other ways. And so they not only have these beautiful displays, but they have a lot of interactive pieces that people can touch, feel, mess around with. And I think that's a really really thoughtful piece that was included in this museum on the new build. So now let's go up where the tree's at, through those stairs, and take a look at the third floor. So now we're up here on the third floor. This is right behind me. You see some of the paleontology. This is the anthropology, paleontology floor. And one of the things that they really thought through when designing this museum is taking the most successful exhibits and putting them in areas that were going to draw people into the museum, instead of having them front and center where people would look at them and then maybe bypass a lot of the other interesting parts of the museums as they were searching through and exploring it. So you have all these amazing dinosaur skeletons. In fact, that's a T-Rex skull that is one of only 7 complete T-Rex skulls in the entire world. And so they actually were able to preserve it, bring it here. Obviously a huge draw. A lot of people want to come to this area, but you can see the staircases right there. And so they actually put the staircase to essentially draw people up to the third floor where this, these exhibits are, so that they could actually experience them. But along the way, they're hitting up floor 1, floor 2, and really getting to see the entirety of the museum instead of just stopping at the fossils and the cool dinosaurs. And you can see on each floor they have these interactive pieces where kids can learn, explore, and really, they're not just, again, looking at screens, they're using their hands and really are part of it. The other thing that they did is you see that this has windows all the way around it, and all of these main exhibits, not only did they put them on a higher floor, but they surrounded them with windows. So even as you're driving by this busy street, 15th Street, and then you have two streets intersecting at this corner, and at night you see it lit up, you see the mastodon, you see the T-Rex skull, you see all these dinosaur bones. And so I think that's just really a well thought out and well laid plan. Attention to detail is huge with this museum. So this is really I think a testament to what can be done when we really think through and rethink how to design a museum. Olsen Kundig, their team, all of the parties involved really did an excellent job. Skanska was the builder, and then this was funded partially by the University of Washington as well as the College of Arts and Sciences on the university and the state of Washington. So very cool. Just love to see everyone interacting, enjoying it. And if you can ever make your way out to Seattle, you definitely need to check out the Burke Museum.